So, what's going on, guys? James here, bringing you another YouTube video representing the Geeky Comrade as always, and I can safely say that I am not Mr. Two Belts. This predictions championship is not mine. And actually, the story I have for Extreme Rules tonight, this is right after the pay-per-view got done, by the way. It's kind of a sad one. I am still Tournament Tuesday champion forever and always. I always say it. But that's all I have is the Tournament Tuesdays title. But we'll just set that to the side. Now, I will say, of course, Tyson did get his predictions in for Extreme Rules before the show went live. And I'll just go ahead and tell you our predictions. So, I can go right in the match order since the show is over now. So, the matches were in the order: Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura, Drew Gulak versus Tony Nese, and both of those were pre-show matches. Then we had Taker and Reigns versus McIntyre and Shane McMahon. Then we had the Usos and the Revival. We had Aleister Black and Cesaro, Bayley versus Nikki Cross and Alexa Bliss, Braun Strowman versus Bobby Lashley, Heavy Machinery versus Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus The New Day, Ricochet versus AJ Styles, Kevin Owens versus Dolph Ziggler, Kofi Kingston versus Samoa Joe, and then Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch versus Baron Corbin and Lacey Evans. Those were all 12 matches from the pre-show to the main event. And the sad thing about this show is, got a pencil here. I wrote everything down on paper actually, instead of on my phone this time. But the sad thing about the show was I started out 5-0 in the predictions. And at the time I was 5-0. Tyson was 3-2. And yeah, it sucked for me. It sucked. I freaking choked at the end, dude. But anyway, so you know my predictions if you saw the video. I'll run through them again. I said Shinsuke Nakamura, Drew Gulak, Taker and Reigns, The Revival, Aleister Black, Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, Bobby Lashley, Daniel Bryan and Rowan, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, Samoa Joe, and then Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Now, Tyson, his predictions were Finn Balor, Drew Gulak, Taker and Reigns, the Usos, Aleister Black, Bayley, Braun Strowman, Heavy Machinery, Ricochet, Kevin Owens, Kofi Kingston, and Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. Now, there were actually quite a bit of stuff that we disagreed on. And obviously, like I said before, I went 5-0. He was 3-2 by the time the Aleister Black match finished. And I was doing really well. So, naturally, I mean, Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura was the first match. We both had different picks. He had Balor and I had Nakamura. Nakamura picked up the win, becoming the new Intercontinental Champion. Now, that was a match that, again, I got all my predictions from got all the matches, the match listing from CBS Sports, and they didn't advertise Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura and Owens and Ziggler. So I had to do those after I uploaded it, but before the show started. So I did, and I was lucky enough that Nakamura actually got the win on the first match in the pre-show, and that was great. Then, of course, and there's nothing else to say about it, really. It was a fine little match, good for the pre-show. I would love to see if they had like enough time like they did on that one episode of NXT after TakeOver Dallas. I'd love to see like if they had given that amount of time, if not more, what they could do. But it was a good little match for the pre-show. Then we had Gulak and Tony Nese. We both picked Drew Gulak, which, I mean, he just won the title. That was the safest bet, and Gulak did pick up the win. So I was 2-0 and Tyson was 1-1. Then the show started, surprisingly, with Taker and Reigns against McMahon and McIntyre. Now, the match, this was actually, surprisingly, it went, from what I heard, it went damn near 30 minutes. One of the longest matches definitely on the show. And actually, it wasn't a bad match. It was actually a pretty good match, which is, I don't want to say that because I don't want to say any match with Shane McMahon is good. But damn it, some of his matches are genuinely like some of the better matches on the shows, and that's really awful. But yeah, it was actually a pretty good match. The ending, of course, you know, like when I do like my thoughts, like stuff like this is typically like mini review, if you will. Like I'll leave the actual like professional reviewing to the people who do that well. So I'm just giving like my thoughts on this. But yeah, it was a pretty good match. And Taker and Reigns, they did end up picking up the win. So I went 3-0. Tyson went 2-1. And the ending spot was actually kind of cool. So McIntyre was about to lay out The Undertaker with a damn Claymore. and he was waiting for him to turn around. He was going to lay him out. And like, as Taker turned around, Reigns came out of nowhere and speared McIntyre, and that set up Shane to get Tombstone, and Undertaker picked up the win. And yeah, again, it was actually a pretty good match. I'm genuinely surprised. Taker didn't look like he was about to die, so that's very good. But then the second match on the show was the Usos and the Revival. Tyson had the Usos. I had the Revival. And, of course, the Revival ended up picking the win with the Shatter Machine. And, again, this was a good tag team match. Now, again, for this match, I wish they would have had some more time. Though, I mean, they had actually pretty close to 20 minutes, I believe. But, I don't know. I just want to see, like, a great main event classic. Like, if the Usos and the Revival had this match at NXT, it could be, like, classified as match of the year. I guarantee it. And I'd love to see that. But, again, it was a pretty good match. I'm not going to lie. Like, the whole show, I'll say it now, it was not a bad show. Was it a perfect show? No. Did I enjoy Fight for the Fallen more than Extreme Rules? Yes. But it was not a bad show. It had its moments. There were some definitely entertaining moments, but then there were some moments that left me wanting to scream out a very loud, like, F-bomb, you know? Like, it was, like, frustrating. But yeah, the Revival picked the win. Again, it was a pretty good tag match with the Usos, but I mean, it's two of the best tag teams, or definitely, like, the two best tag teams in WWE, two of the best tag teams in the world. So yeah, like, that's obvious. Then we had Aleister Black and Cesaro. In this match, I said in the predictions that this will probably be, if given enough time, this match will definitely be like the best match on the card. It was not given enough time. If they would have been given probably around like 5 to 10 more minutes, this match could have actually been really good. If not even given more time than that, you know. The match could have been really, really good, but now they were not given enough time. But Aleister Black picked up a win, like, clean as a whistle over Cesaro with the black mass. And that's actually really cool because WWE definitely doesn't like people winning clean. It's just... So, yeah. As my phone just went off and I committed the crime in recording. But that was from Tyson, so I guess that makes sense since he had a say in this. Either way... At that point, though, I was 5-0 and Tyson was 3-2 after we had both picked Aleister Black. And then here's the part where, like, we truly differed, and this is the part where I immediately slid downhill. It was Bayley versus Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Now, I will say, Sasha Banks did not show up. She did not get involved, and I was thankful for that. I absolutely loved that. But I said Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross, I wanted both of them to win, and Bayley... She took out both of them and pinned Nikki Cross, and I was sad because it's like yeah, you make Bayley look good that way, but like the fact that Alexa and Nikki had like there was no dissension at all between Alexa and Nikki, and the fact that you had like they had a 2-on-1 advantage and they still couldn't beat Bayley. It's like that just makes them look weak, and for Nikki Cross who's done absolutely nothing until this like alignment with Alexa, that sucks to see because I like both of them and I want to see Nikki do well, especially since she never even got to hold she's never held a title in WWE. She didn't even get to hold the NXT Women's title because that was when Asuka was doing her whole like run through dominating the whole division. So that sucked, but Bayley picked up the win and Tyson improved to 4-2 as I went to 5-1, getting my first loss on the night. Then we had the last man standing match and Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Now this was just a tried and true, you know, Haas match. Was it great? No. Was it pretty good? Yes. Was the ending the ending is truly what made this match. Like, they had some good moments prior to it, but the ending is definitely what will be talked about after the show and what will be remembered as. So they were sitting on top of this thing and they had this freaking box. And Strowman lifted Lashley up and just power slammed him off of this freaking thing into this box. Like they both are I could have swore it was gonna go to they're both essentially dead and double count out. Like neither man could stand up, but the referee's count is high. He's counting, And then Strowman, he literally just breaks a freaking wall. He's on his feet, and then the referee counts Lashley. He counts to a 10, and Lashley's technically knocked out. And in all honesty, if you go and watch it, it's actually a really entertaining ending. So I give him full credit for that, because it was an entertaining way to end the match. And my streak of picking Strowman to lose in every match he's in, and then he ends up winning, that continues. I once again picked Strowman to lose, and he won. So my failure streak of voting against Strowman is continuing. But I intentionally did that. I knew Strowman was going to beat Lashley, but I said screw it. It was just kind of hoping. But yeah, so Tyson picked Strowman, I picked Lashley, and that put us both at 5-2. That's where Tyson ended up tying it up. And then Heavy Machinery, Daniel Bryan and Rowan and the Usos. This was definitely, of the tag matches on the show, I'd say this is definitely the best tag team match on the show, the triple threat tag. Every person looked good. I mean, Rowan got some good stuff in. I mean, Daniel, of course, did. The New Day looked good. Heavy Machinery looked very, very good in this match. And Tyson had them picked. I had Daniel Bryan and Rowan picked. And the New Day ended up picking up the win. Midnight Hour to Daniel Bryan. Xavier picked up the win for the New Day. And they're the now 6-time tag team champions. So, yeah. And we both technically lost, so that put us at 5-3, still tied. But then after that, we had Ricochet versus AJ Styles. And as soon as I saw AJ come out, I realized I made a mistake picking Ricochet, and Tyson picked Ricochet as well. But as soon as I saw Styles come out, it was like he had Anderson and Gallows by his side. It's like, oh, like that changes everything. And it does, as the way it worked out was actually the way it worked out didn't feel forced at all. So the ending of the match, Ricochet, he was going for a pin on AJ, but poor ring positioning. AJ's foot was just clearly on the bottom rope. Referee didn't see it, but Carl Anderson, he just got up on the apron and pointed at AJ's foot, getting the referee's attention. And it's like, yep, his foot was underneath the bottom rope. So, I mean, Carl just being a good guy. Carl being a good guy, thumbs up. But then Ricochet actually attacked. So Ricochet actually ended up attacking Carl, knocking him in the ring, which, of course, Carl fell in the ring, so the referee had to deal with him. And then he went to he was going to the top rope, and Gallows just came out of nowhere and pretty much made a low blowed Ricochet with the top rope, made Ricochet just fall nuts first on the top turnbuckle, and then AJ hit an avalanche Styles Clash, second rope Styles Clash for the win, and he won the U.S. title for what they said the third time. So again, we both failed on that prediction. We both went 5-4. Now at this point, I was realizing that. So, okay, the only match at that point that we had left that we differed on was the WWE title. He picked Kofi, I picked Joe. So, yeah, that was a thing. And I realized that, I realized it after the Owens and Ziggler match, which, by the way, that match lasted like 10 seconds. Ziggler slapped Owens, and then Owens dropped him with a stunner and pinned him. 1, 2, 3. Like, the match, again, it literally lasted probably like 10 seconds, so. But Owens picked up the win. We both got that right. Advanced to 6-4, and I realized after that point that, and it was during Kofi and Joe, that if Kofi were to win, or Joe were to win, dependent on who won, either one of us could end up getting the title. And Kofi ended up winning, hitting the Trouble in Paradise. This match, I, for whatever reason, just couldn't necessarily get into this match. And I really like both guys. But I picked Joe, he picked Kofi, like I said before. And I went 6-5, he went 7-4. And at that point, he officially beat me in the predictions. And it was at that point I realized that we both picked Rollins and Becky Lynch to win. And even if Tyson were to go on to lose, that means he would still be the predictions champion. And, of course, they ended up winning. Rollins and Becky Lynch picked up the win. Now, this match, this is the part that I really just wanted to scream, like, the loud F-bomb. I was so frustrated because, like, WWE had to go and do a big WWE-type thing. They marketed this match as winner take all, Extreme Rules. You know, Extreme Rules, anything goes, anything can happen. The only thing that you have to make sure of in an Extreme Rules match is that you pin inside the ring. That's literally the only thing. That's literally like the only rule in an Extreme Rules match. But nope, they WWE'd it up, and they made, not only did they make it not tornado tag, but of course they made it so, of course, you know, normal tag, you have to tag in and out, but Rollins can only fight Baron and Becky can only fight Lacey. And it's like, oh my god, really, guys? If you're going to do that, don't market it as an Extreme Rules match. Like, come on, dudes. Come on. But they did. The match started to, like, break down at the end. We saw, like, people go through tables. I mean, Becky and Seth hitting, like, tandem moves and stuff like that. And the ending was actually, despite everything, they actually did a good ending to the match, I will say. At the end of the match, Baron hit Becky with the End of Days, and Seth saw it as he was in the corner at the time, and he literally tried to murder Corbin. He tried to murder him. He beat the shit out of Corbin with a kendo stick. He breaking a kendo stick over Corbin, was beating him with a steel chair, hit 3 consecutive curb stomps, and then won. So yeah. Then, as Becky's laid out from the End of Days, Lacey said, nope. Saying an enraged Seth, she's like, nope, sorry, Baron. I'm out. I am out. And then, as Seth wins, whose music do we hear? Brock Lesnar. And I was absolutely frustrated at this point as well. It's like, come on. You started winning me back with that ending. And then Lesnar's music hit. Out comes Lesnar. Heyman carrying the damn Money in the Bank briefcase. I was like, oh my god. Lesnar runs in. German Seth. Like, he German Seth. Like, the briefcase is handed to the referees. Lesnar cashes in. Bell rings. F5. And Rollins loses the title. And I have never wanted to say WWE more in my life. But, yeah. Either way, Seth and Becky won. Tyson went to 8-5. I went to 6-6, meaning I had a 500 record. So even if it was just me doing the predictions, I wouldn't have won the title anyway. Because the way we're doing the predictions championship, for the title to change hands, the record has to be above a 500 record. So, yeah. And since it was vacant, I had a 500 record, so I couldn't get it. And Tyson had 8-5, and even if they lost, he would have had 7-5. So, yeah, works out for him. He's the first prediction champion. The one title that he can't take the damn tournament too, so he's championship from me. So I bring in a new title, and he freaking wins it. God, dude. I mean, I guess it makes sense. Either way, this weekend is not a good weekend for predicting for me. I did very crappy with Fight for the Fallen, and now and here's the thing, I didn't expect to do well for the Extreme Rules prediction. I thought I was going to do very, very, very bad, because I hadn't watched a full episode of Raw and SmackDown since July 2nd, 2018, last year, where Tyson and I actually went to the show live, went to that episode of Raw live. And that was really cool. The episode of Raw was actually very, very mediocre and just not good. But being there live was really cool, and that's all I can say. But, let me tell you this. That was the last episode of Raw that I watched live. I don't know. I can't tell you the last time I watched an episode of Raw in full, or Raw and SmackDown in full on TV. I can't tell you. And then I hadn't watched a full pay-per-view since WrestleMania this year. But I watched this one in full, and I don't know. I have no clue. I mean, the show wasn't bad, but anytime Lesnar does anything of importance, it makes me want to, like, gouge my eyes out. Makes me want to, like, scream from the rooftops. Well, but whatever. That's all I can say. Tyson is 8-5. He's the first ever predictions champion. And this was not a good weekend for me predicting wise, but those were my thoughts on Extreme Rules 2019. Those are the predictions for me and Tyson. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like, comment down below, share it up on social media, do all that good stuff. And for next time, I am only one belt, Mr. One Belt, Tournament Tuesday champion forever and always. And bye, guys.